We'll see if we could get a podcast going for today. I'm not feeling good. My nose is all stuffy, so I don't know how it's gonna. Probably the audio's gonna be shitty.
You sound like you got a clothespin on your nose.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. My daughter is not doing well. She's been running a fever the last couple of days, and I don't know if I'm gonna. I kind of feel like it's just mild, so like I just not gonna last long. I'm hoping because I got to try to go to Utah at the end of this week, so we'll see. I may have to cancel my Utah trip if I start feeling, if I may feel like she does. I'm not going to Utah. I can tell you that. But I kind of feel like I'm just going to be a short-lived little stuff.
We've had to go through our house twice this winter, and I've somehow dodged the bullet both times. You know, maybe I got a little runny nose or something, but that was about it. But I'm waiting because I don't get sick very often, but usually once a year I get one of those that I don't want to get out of bed for like 3 days. Yeah.
I got a stuffy nose. That's what I feel like. I don't want to, but I got to go to work. I just got a stuffy nose. I feel it's good. Man up. I got to go do it. But
got the man cold.
Yes. I look at my daughter. She looks miserable. And she's not. Like when she's sick, she's not being really nice. I don't know how to say that, but she's like, and my wife's like, she needs some help with math. And I'm like, sweetie, I don't want to help her with math right now because she's going to
get my head bit off. Yeah.
I'm going to get chewed out. And I can tell you, I got man cold right now. So my temper is a little bit short. So I'm going to listen. It's not a good recipe. The way she's acting right now, she's not acting like a sweetheart. And I know I'm not going to take much pressure right now before I lose my cool. And so we are not going to be good together right now trying to learn math or algebra or whatever the hell she needs help with. So I don't know how that's going to go, but I might have to do some algebra.
And hopefully it'll blow over quick.
Yeah, exactly. I'm hoping she starts feeling better. She had a pretty rough day yesterday and her fever's starting to break. So I think she's hopefully on the right side out of it. But God. So, but anyways, I didn't want to mention, like, by the time this podcast comes out, I should be heading to Utah's banquet. I'm going to make I looked at the schedule, and Utah's was the banquet I could make this year. So I'm going to try and make it over there to see some of those guys. It's been a couple of years. See, take it over there.
Cool.
Well, I don't know who's going to pick me up. I'm not even renting a car this time. I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to fly in because it's just a single flight to Salt Lake. And some of the Eastern Idaho guys, I was BSing with them. They always go. So I'm like, hey, well, you're driving past the airport. Can I hitch a ride? And so hopefully I'll get to hang out a little bit with those guys on the drive.
You'll be the guy on the side of the road with your thumb sticking out.
Yeah, try to clean up a little bit so I can get a ride. I think Nate Lopez may give me a ride. That should be a fun. I know I'm debating. I might try and get I don't know. I always say this to grab a podcast, but it's always challenging to actually break out the shit and do it.
There's a lot of stuff going on. I'm sure it's a lot like ours. It's just hard to get away for a couple hours.
And you start BS with somebody, and then it's like, oh, hold on, let's get this. Like it'd be nice if you could just like hit record while you're.
Yeah, while you're at the bar.
Yeah, I'm a little more editing. Probably have to edit a lot more shit. But Colby editing that home, I'd be like, okay, buddy, don't do that again. You guys talk way too freely at the bar around a campfire. So, and then after that, we're gonna head to Wisconsin. We got a week off, and then head over there to see everybody there in Wisconsin.
How many tickets do you guys have left for the dinner? I'm sure people are
plenty. We'll have to post again. I was telling Jess, I was like, you know what? I think we're like 40, maybe 50. I don't know. So we're probably halfway to capacity at somewhere in there. We're not going to sell out, which is good. I'm okay having a smaller room. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like really, when it gets to 100 people, I get kind of stressed out, like trying to make sure
too hectic. So,
but I have had like 3 or 4 different people this weekend ask me how to get tickets. So I'm like, okay, I gotta post that on our website. You can call or whatever. So
I know one of my friends was like they wanted to go, and they're like, I can't even figure out. We can't even find where to buy them. So I sent them
he
the
might have
link.
been one of them.
But,
Yeah. So we haven't done a good job of like having it front and center, and so we'll put a post online, and I think we gotta tell everybody the week before we gotta count dinners and the caterer or whatever. So it is what it is. Like I said, I can care less if it's 10 people or 100 people. 100 people is more stressful, you know what I mean? Like, because then I really do want to meet everybody and bullshit with everybody out there, you know? So it's like, I try to travel the room a little bit or whatever, but.
Well, I'm sure with the games and stuff, just the more people you got, the more goes into it, and, more people to kind of keep entertained, and
the expectations are higher. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's just a couple of people, I'm like, whatever. We can talk stories or whatever. But at 100 people, I'm like, okay, we better do something, because they're going to look at me like this is boring. So So right now, I said I think we've got 40 pre-sold. And I don't know that for a fact, but which is I'm totally cool with. So if you don't want to come, don't feel pressured to come. If you want to join us, great. You know what I mean? Like, this is the shittiest sales pitch ever. I don't do it to sell out the room. I do it for people who are looking for a dinner. I want to eat something Saturday, and then I try to make it so that we're just not sitting there staring at each other, looking at each other, and then talk about. So, well, let's get into our topic for today, which I actually seen it from New Mexico Houndsman Association's posted this about this HR 5017, which is like a greyhound bill, basically a coursing, open coursing ban. And it looks like that got bundled or amended into the Farm Bill. What do they call it? The National Farm Food and National Security Act of 2026. So, essentially, what this bill was, and I had to do some reading on it, whatever, but it's a bill that would basically targets greyhound racing, but the way they word it, they say, basically you make it illegal to buy, sell, transport, or train greyhounds for those activities. So basically greyhound racing and gambling. While the legislation is primarily aimed at ending the remaining greyhound racing industry in the United States, some hunters and dog owners have raised questions about how certain terms, so one of the terms they use is live animal training and open field coursing, might be interpreted in other dog activities. So basically that's this bill in a nutshell. If you want to go read it, it's known as the Greyhound Protection Act, but it basically would make it illegal in all the U.S. This is in the U.S.
The
Congress,
federal bill.
Federal bill that would make, number one, greyhound racing illegal, but number two, live animal training or open field coursing illegal. So I think that very easily can target into coyotes. Fox pens and coyote pens, I think, are definitely in the gray area of this bill, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the impression? You think am I stretching there or not?
Well, one thing that frustrates me about a lot of these things, when bills get introduced or whatever, there's always those gray areas where you're like, I'm not sure if this is going to fall into that or if it's not. And I would say that could definitely be the case with coyote training pens or fox pens or whatever.
Yeah.
I think I don't, sometimes they'll clarify things, which, by an amendment or something, which may,
in a farm bill, it's like it's already an amendment.
Yeah, which may clear that up, but it may not either.
Yeah.
So I don't know what else.
Yeah.
I mean, in my mind, reading the language, it definitely could fall into that category.
I think it is close. I think the dangers, and I think it has a pretty decent chance of passing. You know what I mean? The way it is right now, not to sound um not to sound like a downer, but I think we've got it's going to be very difficult to stop this. Um because it's got to be stripped out of that farm bill, and this is not the topic that is going to, you know what I mean? This type of thing happened on the open. Remember, who was it? Was it Mike or somebody out of Utah had that
Mike
public
Lee.
land? Yeah, they were
Yeah.
selling public lands on a bill. They put an amendment into another bill that would sell those public lands.
Yep.
Remember that?
Yep.
Same type of situation.
Last fall, late last
fall. And that took a lot of pressure to kill that bill, like that amendment, right? It took a tremendous amount of pressure to kill that amendment. And there were some heavy hitters on that. You know what I mean? Like Cam Haynes, Joe Rogan, Meat Eater, all of those guys just came in and hammered that public lands.
Not to mention every org out there, BHA,
right.
Pheasants Forever. I mean, Rocky Mountain. I mean, they all, it was everybody.
Everybody hit it. And they were able to strip that out of there. I look at it and go, do we have that type of political capital on greyhound racing? I don't see it. You know what I mean? Are we going to get Meat Eater and Cam Haynes and Joe Rogan to talk about? No, I doubt it. Like, I doubt they're going to pick this up at all. They might even support it. You know what I mean? Like, and so, I just look at this and go, oh, the only way this is going to get killed is a backdoor deal. Like, I in my mind is somebody's going to have a really good relationship with somebody to be like, and I don't know how many sponsors there are, but there's several sponsors that are bipartisan on this bill. So
the list of co-sponsors had to be 20 long. I mean,
right.
It was a scroll down the page. It wasn't just a handful.
Right. So,
like you said, it was fairly split. Between Democrats and Republicans. So it's
we might as well talk about it, because I think we're going to see this is there's a decent chance this is coming to fruition. And if there's somebody smart enough that can articulate the game plan to raise the amount of political pressure to have this stripped down, like, I'm all ears. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it's going to take, but it's going to take a lot of capital, a lot of political capital. Maybe I'm not familiar with the legislative, especially on the national legislative side. So
the process, I didn't see like when it would be up for a vote or any of that stuff. But like even with the Wolves right now, that's got handed off to the Senate to vote on, and that happened in December or something, and we haven't heard a single word about it again. And I don't know if they're going to vote on it tomorrow. I don't know if they're going to vote on it in 2 months, or if they're never going to vote on it.
Yeah, that's probably the farm bill. Yeah,
the farm bill will get voted on at some point. So? Oh, I would assume isn't that kind of a revolving bill that
I don't know. I don't follow it enough.
I think there's
what you say. That's my only hope, is that it takes, like, it's kind of really hard to get a legislation in the national level passed. And so I kind of think that maybe the only hope is that most bills don't go through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like,
I kind of think the farm bill affects USDA, and it affects CRP, all that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure all that falls into the farm bill. So I would assume it's going to get some, at some level, whether there's amendments or whatever. I would assume at some level, though, the farm bill will get voted on or passed.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I will. And people calling and trying to eat this, I do agree that this type of thing shouldn't happen, where they shouldn't be able to put our issue in a farm bill. You know what I mean? Like this is an unrelated issue. And so then piggybacking that and putting it into an amendment is BS. It's bullshit, right? So like that's the nearest argument I can see being made is that you shouldn't piggyback a non-related issue into the farm bill.
But it happens all the time.
It does. You know? So like they're gonna be like, well, thank you for your, you know what I mean? Thank you for your whatever, whatever. I can tell you my representatives, the 2 senators from Washington, don't give a shit about my, you know what I mean? Like Patty Murray and Maria Cantwell. They are definitely hardcore yes on that. There's nothing I'm going to tell them. So if you got a senator that is sponsoring it, you could call them and talk to them. That would probably be more helpful than me because if I call and talk to mine, they're probably going to be like, yeah, sit down.
Pissing into the wind.
Yeah, they can just tell me about how they, I did emails from them about how they hate Trump all, they hate Trump this and Trump that and Trump that and Trump this. I'm like, they're not going to want to hear me on that. So anyways, so the biggest takeaway that I have, I'm going to check here, is what I want to chat about was what, I don't know, it's how we got here. But just, but basically talk about the social media part of it, right? Because I, specifically in the coursing side of things, live animals, coursing and hunting dogs, talking about social media. I think that's our biggest problem that we face right now is social media. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, I'll probably irritate some people with this topic. It seems like anytime you talk about social media and posting on social media, you always get those guys that are like, that's my right, I can put whatever I want, and and I don't necessarily disagree with that, but it makes it difficult in these situations to explain why it's okay. You know what I mean? Specifically, the first thing I thought about when I seen this and talk about coursing is those guys running drones. I don't know if you've seen those videos of the coursing guys.
I have, yeah, I have seen some of them.
I see those and I watch them and they dramatize it, and I just think, oh, here we go. You know what I mean? Like, what's the purpose of posting that video on social media? When the dog's catching a rabbit or catch a coyote, you know what I mean? Either one of those where they use the sight hound, even not use the sight hounds, but you know what I mean? When they catch it and that video gets shared, I think does a tremendous amount of damage to any argument we have on these types of situations.
Well, it's definitely not, somebody that doesn't participate in that sport or whatever, at a minimum, there's nobody that's going to watch it and be like, oh, that's cool. I mean,
right.
Other than those of us that hunt with dogs and whatever. And even some of us probably don't say that.
Yeah. I think it comes down to adrenaline. You know what I mean? Like there's a segment of adrenaline you get in that aspect. And if you are not there to share that adrenaline rush, it's really difficult to convey, why.
Sure.
Why that? I don't know. Yeah. So, anyways, let's talk about what coursing means first, because I think there may be some people who know, but basically, when I had this podcast trying to figure it out, is I was like, let me go through and figure out a couple of different things. So coursing, when we're talking about coursing, it's dogs chasing animals by sight across open land, right? So the definition of coursing, I think, is sight hounds versus scent hounds, right? And so traditionally associated with greyhounds and hares, so rabbits. But I do believe that there is a segment of coyote hunting that is probably easily defined as coursing. It may, well, I guess the rabbits, they don't release the rabbits either. So yeah, I think there's definitely a segment of coyote hunting that I've seen that would be defined as coursing. I mean,
I don't think there's any difference other than the magnitude of the chase. Obviously a coyote's going to cover a little bit more ground than a than a rabbit. But I think a lot of it's done virtually the same way. You know, you either drive around, or I know with rabbits, sometimes people use like dogs that will actually flush the rabbit out, because a lot of times they're hunkered down in a bush or something, and they'll
Right.
kind of flush them out, and then as soon as the sight hounds see them running, then they'll pursue in a chase. And I'm pretty sure coyotes works a lot the same. Guys will drive around in fields next to drainages or something where a coyote might be bedded down, and try to get it up out of its bed. And when they see it, the dogs are cut loose or dropped or whatever. And so I don't really think there's a differentiation in the two.
So I think the way the bill is written, those are the two aspects that probably will be easily defined as not legal, right? So the guys that, for rabbits, you know what I mean? If you're using a coursing dog on a rabbit, or if you're using a speed dog or a fast dog on a coyote, where it's like sight hound, that sight thing. If this bill doesn't get stopped, then those are the two things that will be easily, I think, will be illegal in all 50 states with this bill. Where I think it gets, and so characteristics: speed-based, competitive, short-based, or sport-based, not always connected to harvesting the animals. And so I think, rabbits, hares, coyotes, foxes are the traditional coursing animals, right? So I know we have a ton of customers in the coyote hunting world, up there in Wisconsin and stuff. And I think right now coyote hunting is probably in this gray area, or I won't say gray area, but closer to a hunt. I don't want to say. How do you define between coursing a coyote and hunting a coyote, right? And what's the definition of that? Where is that line going to be drawn for legal purposes? You know what I mean? If they're going to say, "Oh, it's illegal to course a coyote," what makes it different? Do you mess with coyotes at all, Russ?
A little bit, yeah.
Sure.
I think one thing that Wisconsin specifically has probably going for it in this aspect is it's illegal for your dogs to engage with game in Wisconsin.
Oh, really?
So our dogs legally cannot dispatch a coyote or a bobcat or a bear or anything. So
that's the hunter's responsibility.
Yep, and that right there, pretty much by that. Well, it's been. I mean, it's one of those things that's hard to. How do you always prevent it, right? I mean, we've all had those dogs that think they can kill anything they catch and are going to try, and sometimes they're successful. So that's the tough part. But from a legal standpoint, I like it as well. It kind of makes that.
It should at least be the goal. I mean, it should be the
goal.
Oh,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
It should be a goal that I get to choose whether I'm going to harvest or not. You know what I mean? It's like, because I can tell you, my dogs will be like, "Nope, we're taking down."
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. And that's my goal. Right now, I'm extremely lucky. The 4 dogs that I have for chasing bobcats right now, I mean, they pretty much won't engage. They'll sit and bay all day long, but they're not going to try to take it out. They get their asses whooped sometimes, but that's because the cat runs them down, Yeah. But you're exactly right. That should be the goal. That's my goal. In Wisconsin, you only get a bobcat tag once every 5-6 years now. So I like to train a lot of times when I don't have a tag, and it's not something you should be doing if you're concerned with your dogs.
Right. You should be able to be selective. I mean, that's one of our pitches about,
for sure,
using dogs on cougars or bears or whatever. It's that we
catch
can
and release.
Be selective.
Yep.
We can catch and release.
Yep.
We can be really selective. We can target specific animals. And if we catch the wrong one, we can be like, all right, we got to go back and try to target the right one. You know what I mean? If you're trying to catch a collared cougar, just because you caught a cougar that didn't have a collar on it, you're like, oh, sorry, I can't. No, you're like, okay, well, let's go back and figure out how we got off of the wrong cougar and let's go back to the right cougar. You know what I mean? So like selective harvest is a huge asset that we have curated with dogs. And so I think that is definitely something that I argue is one of our best arguments when it comes to harvest. We are the most selective types of harvest that we have, as long as we hold the purse to the harvest. You know, if we turn that over to the dogs, all of a sudden now my dogs are not. They're not as cool.
Not as selective.
Cool. No, they're like, let's get them all. You know, but
so I think that law alone in Wisconsin, I don't believe there's a stipulation for any coursing or any exemption for any coursing or anything. So I think that law probably alone makes sight hounds illegal in Wisconsin.
When I was looking at that coursing or greyhound, it looked like there was several states that are already illegal to do that. I think Wisconsin might have been one of them.
Sure.
I don't know. I didn't look at the details specific of what states allow or not. I know Washington, you can't use dogs for coyotes. And it was, I remember the argument. I remember fighting about it, and it was specifically around the coursing argument. You know what I mean? It was around the whole reason you can't coyote hunt with dogs in Washington is because it was done through WDFW, but their reasoning was the coursing dogs for coyotes. They were like, hey, these guys are running coyotes down, with buggies or whatever, and dumping them loose, using sight hounds on it. And I remember it was a difficult argument to try to explain why it should be okay. You know what I mean? Like I had a hard time articulating an argument that was persuasive. You know what I mean? Like I could try to give the talking points, but nothing moved their needle. Like I can, you know what I mean? Like there's a time when that you're trying to persuade somebody and it's not working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just keep talking.
Falling on deaf ears.
Yep. Yeah. So and that was how I felt on that. I was like, I don't know how to argue this point. I don't know the argument for that. And so for me, I'm like, it's a difficult argument because I've been there. I've tried to explain why it's allowed or why it should be allowed, and it just wasn't persuasive. I mean, I just couldn't come up with an argument where the person was like, "Oh, I see your point." Like it never happened in that argument. There was never a point where they're like, "Oh, I see your point. You should be able to do it because it's always been done." Like that was not a way to, at least my experience was.
Probably the main argument for it is not something you're going to get across in a 10-second conversation. As far as raising the dogs and training them, and the dog was bred for that, but that's stuff that people kind of have to not necessarily live it, but it's not a 10-second conversation like the opposing side is when they see a 10-second clip and are like, boom, my decision's made. You know, it's more of an emotional, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just not something for somebody that hasn't done it. It's not easy for them to understand.
Emotion is like the key way to changing opinion, right? And so for us to use emotion in a persuasive manner to change opinion, which has been done, like you can do that. You take the legislators out, they see your children interact with the dogs, they see that your dogs are not these meatheads, that are just vicious dogs, and everybody no, they're dogs. They get petted. You get treats
part
afterwards.
Of the family. Yeah.
Part of the family. They're really, that's an eye-opening experience for people, but you can't do that. Well, it takes a lot of work and effort to do that, right? And a 5-second, 10-second, the flip side of that emotion is dogs catching the stretching game on video, and you can show that, and you can in 5 to 10 seconds, you can change somebody's opinion against hunting.
Mm-hmm.
What would take us a day to like loosen up them to be like, oh, I like hunting with dogs. I like, they're not vicious dogs. They're pets. You know what I mean? But I know. I met Buddy's Shelby dog. That's a sweet little red bone. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Like they're all getting petted around the truck. Everything's cool. It takes a while. I can't do that in a 5-second, 10-second video to make people go, oh, those dogs are awesome. You know what I mean? But what a guy can do, and what happens all the time, is these guys shoot a video and show the very end of it where the dogs are catching or whatever, and in 5-10 seconds you could definitely can definitely use emotion against us, and it takes a hell of a lot more than 5-10 seconds for us to build that emotion in a positive manner back. And so that's
in fact, once they've seen that, now you've got an even harder time getting them back to our side. If somebody had never seen that 5 or 10 second clips of dogs stretching a coyote or whatever, we would probably have a lot easier time selling our side of it. But when they've seen that, you just moved them, X amount of spots to the extreme, and now you got to try to make up for that as well, as well as getting them on your side.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like, man, we're really, I mean, on the social media side, I mean, it's so frustrating that we're up against the wall. I mean, we are definitely the guys, like how much damage a guy can do to wreck something quickly, and their ego, you know what I mean? Like the ego involved of, it's my right, I want to show this, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, the amount of damage those guys do, and the amount of work that guys have to come in behind them and try to clean up is not proportional. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like you don't want to. Honestly, there are situations where I almost want to say something, but I'm like, God, I know if I say something, this guy's going to go even worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you just throw gas on the fire.
Yeah, and so you're like, man, I don't know. I don't know the answer sometimes, because there's times where I look at something like, I'll be honest, even on this, you know what I mean? I've seen these videos, if we're just talking about coursing, where they catch a rabbit. And I'm like, why are we showing that? Like, why are you got drone footage of this whole portion of it? And it's like, show the chase, show the cool part, but why show the part at the end that does all the damage? You know what I mean? And I just, and you say something to somebody, and all of a sudden now it's a big old fight, and it's almost like that's what they want. You know what I mean? They're out there just to fight. And it's like, now you got a wrecking ball and you just made it worse. So I don't know. I really,
well, and the other side of that is, you got these organizations like Humane Society, and they got highlight reels of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so easy for them to go on social media and find these videos or whatever. So they've got highlight reels of them. So when you put that stuff out there, that's probably getting saved somewhere within that organization for them to pull out at a later date when they need it.
Yeah. It is rough. It is rough. I wish I knew the answer. I mean, I've talked to guys. I mean, I've had guys mad at me because, I've said something, on this topic, which is like, man, like I don't like this aspect of it. A video, there's just things that shouldn't be on social media. They shouldn't be on video. And I kind of live by that. It was like, hey, we've all had those situations. I mean, every one of us, whether it's even deer hunting, elk hunting, whatever it is, it was like you had a bad shot, or you did something, you know what I mean? It's like there's shit happens out in the woods. You know what I mean? Like it's like nobody's saying that everything's always perfect, and it's like all this, the world is a perfect place. But I don't need to show my daughter that. You know what I mean? Like I had a rough day of something out in the woods, and it's like I don't come home and be like, hey, my 12-year-old daughter needs to watch this thing that happened.
Sure, how it really is.
Yeah, it's like, this is how life is. It's like, no, she doesn't need that. She just wants to know butterflies and whatever, and she hunts, and she's really, really anxious about making sure that she kills that animal as quickly as possible because it is, kind of detrimental to her if it doesn't go right. You know what I mean? And there's times where I'm like, hey, let's just give that one a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to go walk up on that thing right away because it's going to be a little bit harder on her than it is me. I'm a little bit rough and tough or whatever. And I can't, like, that's kind of how I feel about it. It's like, man, yeah, we know you're all badass. We know you're a badass and you can handle it. But there are people in our societies that can't. And, they're making decisions for us, you know what I mean, based on these emotions, and so it's like, man, here we are, you know what I mean, like this Corson bill. I don't know, how I argue this to the people that we need to argue this to, because they're going to show me a video, and I'm going to be like, okay, yeah, that guy right there took that cool video, and it's got this cool thing. But someone who doesn't like that is going to ask me why, and now I got to defend, their actions. So anyways, it is what it is. This is the detriment. This is what we're going to be dealing with for the next 10 to 15 years, I think.
I think
more than that probably, but
I think it's just going to be the new normal or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, Facebook is. Social media is, it's great. We talked about the public land deal with Mike Lee in that situation. I mean, if it wasn't for social media, I don't know if we would have beaten that. But because of social media, it blew up so fast. Like you said, you had Rogan and Haynes and all those guys jumping on it, and it just it went through the whole entire hunting community. And more than even just the hunting community, it just went through everything in the blink of an eye because of social media.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's a blessing, and it is a curse.
It is, but the problem is our issues are not as widespread as public land issues. You know what I mean? Like that was an issue that everybody could jump in on.
Yeah,
and we have an issue here that is not that way. You know what I mean? Like this is one where, I don't know how we get the engagement we need to do this. So, and I think, so I thought about this a little bit. I was like, man, it used to be these videos were always there. You know what I mean? Not as prevalent. Now every phone has a camera. You know what I mean? There's cameras everywhere. So it's like, there's a lot more getting video on anything. You know what I mean? You can't see a fight, a street fight or anything like that without some video. You know what I mean? It goes viral. So it's not, this isn't just a hunting issue. You know what I mean? Like you'll see some teenage kids in the locker room, I think was the last one, where some gal didn't denounce ICE or some girls beat her up. And I'm like, why the hell are people just in society videoing the worst of them? You know what I mean? And then
it's like your first instinct when something's going down. Like, let's not go help them. Let's not.
Yeah. Let's go grab a phone.
Whatever. Let's grab a phone.
Yeah. We got to record this. And I'm going to get so many likes or, you know what I mean? It's like, man, that's not going away, man. I don't know. And I don't. And that's not just a HUD issue. You know what I mean? Like it's
society issue, societal. Yeah.
You watch these things and you're like, there is an intriguing aspect of it that we all want to see. You know what I mean? Like you want to watch that video. Like you know what I mean? Like instinct is, I want to see what happened. Mm-hmm. But then when I watch it and I'm like, man, the person who did that was more interested in videoing that than helping society or helping somebody out. You know what I mean? It was like, that makes me a little bit sick. You know what I mean? It's like,
I just saw in the news I don't know, last night, the night before, they were looking for this kid got jumped on the street.
Right.
And there was a video and they were looking for the perpetrator. And I'm thinking to myself, who in the hell is taking that video instead of going over there and helping that kid?
Right.
Like how how does that even go through your head? Like, I'm going to sit here and video it. Well, at least now we got video so we can try to find the dude. Yeah, but if you would have went over there and helped him out,
Right.
it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's not going anywhere. It's just getting worse. I mean, you and I weren't raised and didn't grow up with that. So it's probably hard for us to understand, but you look at your kids and my kids, like they haven't known any different. Like
I know.
they've always had they've grown up with a camera in their pocket, literally.
Yeah.
So it's not going to get better.
No. And even like, this is totally in the weeds, but I have a problem. So like my daughter is in dance. She does these dance competitions. And so we'll go and I'm going to miss one for Utah. And I'm a little bit bummed about it. I was like, wow, I wish I do like watching her dance. I get to watch my son do his things, but there's rare moments that I get to watch my daughter do her things, and dance is one of them. And I tell my wife, I'm like, I'm not videoing this. Like, she'll be like, can you video this? I'm like, no, I'm not video. Like, I do not want to watch my daughter through a freaking screen. Like, there is something about me that when I do that, I'm like, why am I watching this through a screen? So that, I mean, I get it that my daughter wants to see it. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
The
Ross,
connection's not the same. Yeah.
right. I'm like, why don't I ask somebody who's not the daughter? You know, do you have daughter this? Nope. Can you video this for me? Because you'll do a lot better. But I want to experience this in person. And I have that rule that I'm like, dude, no. Let's just, my wife will ask me something. Can you video this? No, I'm not videoing it. Like, this is too important for me that, like, I want to see it. I want to feel it. I want to enjoy it. And there's something of a disconnect. And thank goodness I can recognize it. I don't know how, but I just am like, I just feel so stupid when I'm here in person and I'm watching through this little iPhone screen, trying to make sure I get the right angle and all this. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, F that. I'm here to watch it. And if I don't get to watch it, I want to know that I was here. So anyways, the whole video thing, sometimes I just look at it and go, man, I'm just getting to be an old grumpy man. It's like, we're there. Oh, but yeah. So that was my rant on the video. I was like, I think, and I don't know what everybody's thoughts are on it, but I don't know how to fix it, because I don't think you can fix it. Like, if this bill, like, trying to stop it, you know, those coursing guys, like the ones that have the videos, I'd love to hear what their thoughts are. Hopefully they can mount a good campaign to stop it, because I feel like they're probably the detriment of some of it.
So is this bill, as it's currently written, it will affect hunting, correct?
If I mean, I think it's going to be
or is it more of just the training? Which, again,
I don't know. So
there isn't a definitive line between those two a lot of times, but
right, I think some of the defining factors is, so the greyhound gambling, like that part of it is easily, that's explained very well in the bill, right? The part that I think gets into the weeds, it's like, okay, now we get into the gray area, which is live animal training and open field coursing. So live animal training, I think, would start to encroach into the pens, coyote, fox pens, rabbit, as far as the coursing, because it is a coursing bill. And so sight hounds, you know what I mean? Like, I think the definitions start going into, are you using a gun or are you using a dog to dispatch the animal? You know what I mean? Like, sure. I think if you're using a dog, I think that's reasonable that that's going to be targeted by legislation to make that illegal. Like, I think with this bill, at least it's going to be challenged, right? That's what they're going to go for, is if you're using the dogs, that could be uh, that could start to be defining moments of are you hunting or are you coursing? You know what I mean? Like what portion? And I guess the question is what portion does the hunter have? If the hunter doesn't have any portion of the hunt, except for opening the tailgate,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
pulling the rope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I got so I don't know. I mean that's it's kind of like levels, right? So greyhound gambling, level 1, those are probably duped, right? I mean, easily those are going to be, and I think there's only one state that has greyhound racing left, or maybe West Virginia.
West Virginia, I thought, yeah, there's two venues or something.
Yeah. So I think Florida just lost it a couple years ago. I don't know when, but in the limited resource limited that I've done is I don't think there's very many of those left. So those are probably going to be eliminated. You know what I mean? And then when you get into the live animal coursing, I think that would be level 2, which is like, okay, those are probably going to be eliminated by language of this bill. It's probably spelled out well enough that those are going to be illegal. And then we got to really try to put a fence on what's the difference between coursing and hunting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So can you course a hot coyote and can you hunt a coyote? And what are the differences? You know what I mean? So if and I don't coyote hunt, so I don't know. I don't rabbit hunt. You know what I mean? But what's the difference between coursing a rabbit and hunting a rabbit? You know what I mean? Like the beaglers. You know what I mean? Like what's the difference between those two different things? And the first thing that comes to my mind is a hunter and a gun. You know what
hunter's
I mean? Like,
involved.
The hunter's involved with the harvest, and so if you can't, and I don't know, like I said, this goes for everything, but if you can't make that distinction, we've got to draw that line that says what is hunting and what is coursing. Maybe we can stop this, but we got to do that in some states anyways, because coursing is illegal in most states. I think most states coursing is already illegal. So really, this bill is the 8 states or whatever that don't have a law against it. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm racking my brain around it, and it's definitely frustrating because it's like now we gotta define why it's okay to do it this way but not that way, and that's a really dangerous place to be. It's a dangerous place to be.
So there was a section on that bill about taking the dogs over state lines. Did you read that part?
No, what did you see?
Oh boy.
I think it was, again, on the gambling rate, greyhound side of things. I think,
yeah.
So I see where you can export dogs to other countries and be illegal to export dogs to other countries.
Well, there was a thing, a portion in that about transferring over state lines, and I didn't read it clear enough, but I was just curious if that was just like an extra layer of protection to ending what their target was, or is that something else that further limits?
Yeah. So if the language ultimately becomes law, this is ChatGPT creating I give them the law and I was just asking questions. So take it with a grain of salt, right? I don't have time to curate this as fast as AI was. So I was like, you know what? I've asked it some questions to do it. But considering that, I said, if the language ultimately becomes law, it would create a nationwide prohibition on commercial greyhound racing and restrict the use of live animals and dog training practices tied to racing and coursing. So again, it's targeting the racing, but it's also using coursing language. So I think coursing is what starts to get into when it says live animal training and coursing. That's when it starts to move into that hunting aspect, right? So I think, like a guy could be like, "Oh, this is just about greyhounds." On the Capitol, like that's what they're saying, right? This is a greyhound bill. This is a greyhound bill. This is a greyhound racing bill, which doesn't have a lot of support. Like there's not a lot of support for greyhound racing. So, I promise you, they're not going out to the people at the Capitol going, "This is a live animal training and dog, coursing, hunting they're not using the word hunting when they're talking about this bill.
Mhm.
Like they're gonna pass this as a greyhound bill, and these items are gonna fly under the radar, and that's what's gonna affect us, right? So, and I don't know how you stop it, but anyways, the bill would also make it illegal to sell, buy, transport, or train greyhounds for those activities. And so I think that's where the commerce, interstate commerce comes in. So basically, they're saying, especially when interstate commerce is involved. So violations could carry federal penalties, including fines and possible prison time. So
Yeah.
that last little bit's probably AI extrapolated something, but I think that's the part that talks about interstate is basically selling
Yeah.
quote unquote greyhounds, right?
It's basically just another layer of protection to stopping the greyhound racing. So you're not going to West Virginia and then going here and going there and doing it. What's interesting, kind of interesting to me, is what's the difference between greyhound racing and horse racing?
Yeah.
You know what I think the difference is? There's a whole lot of yuppies that are involved in horse racing.
Yeah, a lot of money.
And a lot of money. And greyhound racing is probably looked at as being just, the redneck version of that, pretty much.
Everybody loves a dog. You know what I mean? Like there is an aspect of our society that really connects with a dog and deeply, you know what I mean? Like deeply with a dog that they treat a dog differently than they do a horse. So I think,
well, and the interesting part of that is there's probably nobody that connects more with a dog than its owner and its handler, right? But these people these people that are just used to looking at the Humane Society commercials and seeing a crying little puppy on TV, their connection is, they think it's a deep emotional connection, but in reality they don't really know. I mean, they talk about the number of injuries and stuff that happen to greyhounds and stuff and during races and whatnot, and I mean, they make it seem like the owner or handler or whatever, like they want that, like they I mean, I'm sure there's nobody more devastated by that than they are, much like us and our hounds.
Man, it would be interesting to it is it's challenging. It's challenging because that's their passion. You know what I mean? Like they're in a small group, and it is completely bullshit that this is happening to them. You know what I mean? Like, and it's already happened to them. And we over here in Oregon or Washington, we've had the fight with in losing California. You know what I mean? Like losing these battles with hounds. Using hounds and dogs, and it's like it sucks. It really sucks when they go to the ballot box or the political spectrum to take out, your hobby, which is not fair. It's like, that does suck. I mean, it really,
well, and you're not going to get it back, right? Like,
no,
I mean, greyhound racing's not coming back.
No, it's not.
I mean, once it's gone, it's gone. It's a thing of the past. And the same can be said for our stuff. Once it's gone, it's gone. I mean, you can point out a few little wins we've had here or there to get something back, but in general, it's gone.
Yeah, we need to try not to give them ammunition. Basically, that's the biggest thing. And there's plenty of people right now that are just handing out ammunition for free. So
yeah. Well, I would encourage people. You and I have talked about this just between the two of us a little bit, but there's a podcast out there called Hunt Quietly, and I think when stuff like this comes up, there's a lot of merit to their side of things. Like they're not for posting dead and dying wildlife on Facebook, and they don't like the promotion of hunting on social media or any type of media, and I don't agree with everything. In fact, a lot of times I think they kind of come off as spoiled little babies that just don't want to deal with competition. But there is a lot of merit to what they say too. So if people are looking for a podcast to listen to or whatever, I mean, I would encourage you to at least check it out and listen to their perspective.
Hunt Quietly.
Yeah, Hunt Quietly. Yep.
Yeah, I listened to a couple of his podcasts. I agree with a lot of that.
Yeah, he's kind of tough to listen to sometimes. But, well, and what's funny is it's Steven Rinel's brother that does it, and they are completely estranged now. So it's strictly because of this situation, because his brother Matt that does Hunt Quietly is pretty much opposed to everything that Meat Eater and the promotion of hunting. So there's a little bit of that get out your bag of popcorn factor too when you're listening to it. So
yeah, you go back and forth on sometimes, because even me, for like have a social media, I gotta try to do it for the business, and like this last couple of weeks I've been using a little bit for the eSeek and trying to drum up a little bit of, I would say, stir up controversy or whatever, but doing it for the likes. You know what I mean? Like I can care less. Some of it is genuinely like, I just got tired of people telling me I had to look at the eSeek, right? And I'm like, dude, I don't think that's ready for prime time. You know what I mean? And so, and then there's another aspect of it that that's how I started my brand. You know what I mean? Was I don't say being helpful, but explaining technical aspects of these systems. You know what I mean? And so when it started out, there was this new Garmin system, and it was GPS and computers and all that kind of stuff. And so that's in my wheelhouse. You know what I mean? That's what I came from with Intel. And so some of me jumping into that was like, hey, I need to go back to my roots, which is explaining things to customers best I can. You know what I mean? And the technology and why I don't necessarily like that China tracker. And it's not that I don't think it's going to track as far as the Garmin or whatever. It was just like, I see all the weaknesses. It's like this can happen. You know what I mean? These are the things you're not thinking about. You're just putting on a dog and expecting, the distance. It's like, yeah, you're going to see distance. You'll see that happening, but downloading maps offline, you know what I mean? Like all the complications of the system. It's like, that's where the challenge comes. You know what I mean? Getting a signal from a mile away and a receiver from a mile in, and sending a packet that says, this is the coordinates of my location, and that thing getting it and saying, here it is, putting on a map. That's fairly, I don't want to say it's simple, but that's the object of the system. It's like, that's the number one thing they're going to do. They're going to work on that. They're going to work the bugs out.
Yeah.
It's all the other things that happen that are like, in the course of the problem, and those where the bugs happen, because it's like, okay, we just do this really quick, and then they don't have this little problem or bug or whatever. So anyways, that all to say, I'm just guilty too. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't think when I'm posting a video and making a little post on the eSeek that I'm not like, why am I doing this? You know what I mean? And sometimes I'm just like, yeah, I'm just doing this to make myself relevant, for my brand and my business. And, sometimes it makes me feel dirty. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, man, can I just shut off Facebook completely and still do it? And the answer is probably not. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to slowly disappear, which some people would be perfectly okay with that. But for W, I have to actively make a decision.
Well, I think it's
active.
I think it, as far as the longevity of houndsman, I think it's important. We just talked about for the last 45, 50 minutes about how important or how much of a part social media is in everybody's, daily lives anymore. I mean, I think it's important that we are sharing the emotional stuff that we talked about, the hounds sleeping with our daughters or playing around in the yard with our kids and stuff. And, and some of that comes with the hunting part of it, like I like to show videos of just me walking out of the woods sometimes with my dogs, and
Yeah.
none of them are on leashes. I call one of their names, they come. I don't think we can all just be like, well, I'm not showing anything on social media anymore. um I don't necessarily know that that's a winning attitude either, but we need to definitely be careful about what we're showing, and knowing that, yeah, that video of the pictures that I put of my hound sleeping on the dog beds or whatever, like that's probably not going to move the needle just boom all the way to the right,
It's not going
just
to get
when
all the
somebody
shares.
sees it.
Right? I'm not going
No,
to share that. I'm
no,
not going to
no,
share
but
that video.
yeah, somebody looks at that and they make a mental note of that, and when they
Yeah.
see this stuff continually time after time, maybe you're bumping the needle just a little bit every time. Whereas, you put that video up of your dog's stretching a coon or stretching a coyote or something, and then that video just goes boom
Yeah.
and moves the
Yeah.
needle all the way in the opposite direction. So,
And that is the frustrating part is those people get rewarded for a shit video like that sometimes.
and
I
I'm
mean?
not trying to, I'm not trying to sound like I'm the moral authority of houndsman or whatever. I don't. Well, maybe I would want that job. I don't know, but
They would give
I'm
to
not.
me. I'd be like, bam, bam, bam.
I mean, I'm not trying to say that I'm any better than anybody else. It's just, just think about it. I mean,
yeah, like it, and I've thought about like, the Facebook, right? So even Facebook is, I had to go back and they're, so my page was, not recommendable, right? W Hunting Supply was not recommendable for a couple weeks, right? I was like, your page is not recommendable, but they didn't explain why. They didn't show me a post, they didn't do anything, and so I had to really think about it. And I was like, I bet you, um, back in whenever Matt left, I gave him a gun, right? So I had a gun engraved with W, and so I went back and I was like, let me delete that. Was like from 10 years ago. It was a long time ago. He left, so 10, 11 years ago. So I was like, let me go back in that post. And so 10, 11 years ago, I found that post. It was just a picture of a 30-30. It had the W logo on it, you know what I mean? And I was like, hey, thanks, Matt, for your whatever. And so I just deleted it. I was like, I think I can delete an 11-year-old post. You know what I mean? Like,
no one's looking at it anyways. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's going back and looking at that, so it was just more of an experiment. And sure enough, recommendation came back on. You know what I mean? So Facebook, just having the gun in a picture 11 years ago, Facebook was like, "Whoa, we can't recommend W Hunting Supply." And so that aspect alone, I hope, is enough, because any of these people who want to build social media followings, right? And you can tell them, because they're like, hey, like and share and subscribe. You know what I mean? Make sure they're asking you to share something actively. I mean, if they are actively asking you, please share this post, because
they're trying to get paid for that. Yep.
Well, yeah, they're trying to get paid. Like, they want to have their following as big as possible, and so they are actively asking for some reason. Some people are like, oh, Facebook is promoting this or whatever, whatever the logic is. Here's what I look at and go, okay, whether I agree with it or not, let's just take that out of the equation, right? But for me to go back and go, that gun, I deleted it. I could have just said on principle, like, fuck that, excuse my language, try not to cuss too much, but screw Facebook. I'm going to post pictures of, I'm not opposed to guns. Like, I love guns, like, love them. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a situation where I want to be without guns around me. You know what I mean? I just can't imagine that. So, but I look at it and go, is it worth the fight? You know what I mean? Like, I could stand on principle, but why don't I just not show a picture of a gun. And so if I take that to hunting, and Facebook is at what point does Facebook actively say, "Oh, that dog caught that on there," and you're going to have to go back. You build your following of 30,000, 100,000, 10,000, whatever your following is, right? And you've worked really hard to curate your content, and you've got that following because you've shown these aggressive videos of whatever, and all of a sudden it turns off like a light switch. You know what I mean? Like, is that enough motivation for some of these guys that are trying and like, hey, now that content, which used to reward you because people would share and follow or whatever, all of a sudden now that's negatively affecting you, whether it
hurting their pocketbooks. Yeah.
What happens? Like, what would you do if you built your whole following and all of a sudden it's gone? You know what I mean? Like if Facebook was to say, sorry, W Hunt Supply, we don't support hound hunting. Your Facebook page is gone. You know what I mean? Like, luckily I have enough customer base and enough reach, became hounds, but you know what I mean? Like, I haven't relied on that, but those guys that are only reliant on social media, you're only reliant on getting clicks and views or whatever, and that could turn off tomorrow with a click of a switch. And I don't think it's going to happen like, oh, we don't like, hunting with dogs. I think it's going to be these topics here, that we're talking about today, like coursing, like the dogs catching and the, dispatching the animal, not the hunter. You know what I mean? Like, I think, I would guess, I think YouTube might even not like, kill shots. I don't know, but I think I remember seeing something where on hunting shows, it might have been Meat Eater or whatever, where they don't show the actual impact or they don't show the kill. It seems like that is something. I could easily see that happening where these algorithms, this AI, starts curating and going, hey, that part of hunting is not acceptable for us. Whether it was, like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all these platforms that these guys are making a money, whatever, what I mean? Like, whether they're making money or making fame, I just see it as a dangerous aspect. You know what I mean? And
well, and honestly, for everybody else, those of us that aren't making money off of Facebook ads, like and click, maybe that's not such a bad thing. Maybe that would kind of do some of the work for us, I guess. But
this new society, that's kind of their social capital, right? Is like, how many followers do you got? You know what I mean? Like people look at that and go, how many Instagram followers you got? Like, I don't even know how many, but it's kind of like a capital to these guys. And so I'm like, maybe if that gets taken away, maybe that means something to them. I don't know.
But then we're back to the whole censorship subject of COVID. Like, I don't really know that I want somebody at Facebook deciding what's right and wrong to post either. I don't know. It's just it's a extremely nuanced conversation that, every little thing you do, it opens up a whole nother can of worms. And
because the people at Facebook, like I said, it pisses me off. The fact that I posted a picture of a gun wasn't even,
innocent. Yeah.
It was,
it's a chunk of metal with some engraving in it. Right. That's it. That's all it is.
It's like a 30 lever action. You know what I mean? It wasn't even like a badass, black gun or anything like that. It was just an old cowboy gun that I had engraved. You know what I mean? And that was enough. So I 100% agree. Like, I don't like the idea of social media doing that, but I do make people go, like, if it was enough for me to be like, I could have just said F that and left it on. But I was like, what? It's an 11-year-old post. Let me try it. And I'm like, oh, that's what it was. You know what I mean? Interesting. Yeah. And so, like, And that just happened, you know what I mean? Like 2026. It wasn't like that post has been around for 11 years and then all of a sudden 2026. Nope. That
Can't recommend them.
How did you, it wasn't a human that went back that far. You know what I mean? It wasn't a human going, let's go check W's. Oh, there's dog, 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 oh, dog, bunch of dogs. Oh, funny, inappropriate meme, dog, dog, dog. You know what I mean? Like, a bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and I said, no, that one's it. Ban them. You know what I mean? Or whatever it was. It was a computer. You know what I mean? It was down to it was AI. That went back and found that. And,
an algorithm or something.
Yeah. Lord help them if inappropriate memes are going to be flagged because we're like, I give up. I'm like, oh, nope. I'll give up the picture of the gun, but the inappropriate memes are staying. We're going down. Facebook. Inappropriate memes are going to go there. Like my China
draw the line somewhere.
Yep. Yeah. The China balloon. Like remember that balloon that was going across it? That one stays. The meme we're going down with it. But I'll just grade 30-30. I'm like, yeah, I'm mad. That guy quit anyways. Matt quit a while ago. He's a paid. No. So I don't know. Like that, but that makes me think, you know what I mean? Like if it was, at least it made me stop and think, because we have pretty good following Facebook, and it is a tool that has been built up. So these guys that are trying to build up their social media and trying to get 40,000, 50,000, 70,000 followers, and then all of a sudden AI changes the algorithm. What are you going to do? You're going to go to nothing? You know what I mean? Because a principle, I guarantee you these guys will start changing their ways. You know what I mean? Like if they're making, especially the guys that are making money on posts, right? If you're getting money on posts, and all of a sudden you post this part of the hunt and it turns off your social media and that goes away, I guarantee you these guys are not principled enough. In an instant. They're like, whoa, don't show that part because it's going to attack my pocketbook. And so from that standpoint, I'm like, maybe that is the way. You know what I mean? Like if they're looking at it for money, I guarantee you they'll I did. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not looking at it for money on W's aspect back, but when I was like, not recommended, I'm like, I don't like that feeling. You know what I mean? Like as W, I don't like the fact that it showed in. And I didn't just go freak out about it. I let it sit for a couple weeks or months. You know what I mean? It was probably a month and a half that I kept getting that alert, that email. I thought it was fraud the first time, because that's kind of how they got me last time was they,
I'm not clicking on that. Bullshit. Not this time.
Exactly. For a month, I'm like, that's fake. I know that shit. That's fake. It's somebody trying to get me to click and get my password. I know it. And it was after about a month. I'm like, damn, maybe it is Facebook. You know what I mean? Maybe they aren't really. And I'd click on a couple things that tell me it was legit. But
Zuckerberg, is that you? Is that really you?
Yeah. Can we talk? I'm a little bit anxious about giving my password to anybody. The last time that happened, I don't remember what it was, but yeah, it was, this happened. You need to click on this. And that was kind of the feeling it was like, hey, your page is not recommended. Click here to see blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm not going to do it. I don't care. Don't recommend me. But after a while, and I thought about it and I seen other, a lot of hunting, Facebook pages were kind of mentioning it, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we're not, what they're not, they're cutting down on hunting pages or whatever. And so I was just sitting back and just thinking, I was like, what happened? What changed in the algorithm? And I think OSDA had one where like, hey, we had to take the picture down of the guns because they posted a picture of a gun and then all of a sudden they were not recommended. So they did it quick enough that they could quickly associate that it was the gun that made their page not recommendable.
They noticed the instant that happened. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was one of the clues to me that I was like, I wonder. And I'm like, because I don't know if we had a picture of a customer at a tree with a gun. Like we rarely do we promote or post a picture of the dead animal. Like, you know what I mean? Like our branding is about the chase, the tree, and the ability to select. Now we're not opposed to harvest at all. You know what I mean? Like, but we just don't showcase that as part of our branding. You know what I mean? Our branding is about the dogs, and we always want to focus on the dogs, not the game. You know what I mean? So we're not a bear. You know, our customers bear hunt, they can't hunt, whatever. But our branding always kind of focuses back to the dogs. And so I always try to, as a general purpose, what I tell my social media sellers, that it should always be focused on the dogs. You know what I mean? The dogs is what most of our customers are doing this for. They're not doing it for the bear. They're not doing it for the cougar, not doing it for the bobcat. You know, they're here because of their dogs. And so we always try to really focus on that. And anyway, so I had to think, I was like, did somebody have a picture of a gun? Did a tree? Or, you know what I mean? Like, and so I thought, honestly, and then I thought about Matt's gun that we, gave to him when he left. And so I was like, well, I could get rid of that one. That one I can go back and find the date. But I was like, there's no way I can go find a picture in the 15 years or whenever we've had our Facebook page to rule out every single gun. I just, there's no way. And so
filter all of them out. Yeah.
So we may lose that recommendation again. I don't, you know what I mean? Like that could be, but it is what it is. Out of thousands and thousands of posts, if that's the flag, it's a gun. I'm like, whatever. But I could easily see if they did it for guns, I could 100% say that they will do it for dogs that are catching animals. Like I'm pretty confident that's coming.
Or even just dead game.
Yeah.
You know, once that starts, who knows where it's going to stop?
Yeah. No, that's very true. Like, hopefully not. But
hopefully not.
Yeah.
But
that is, and that was part of the reason I was like, you know what? I should probably Big Game Houndsman. I paid the developer to go back and update software and try to get that re-updated. That website's dying, right? It's dead. I mean, it's got a few people posting on it. And it may be, in fact, I think it is a lost cause. You know what I mean? Like, I walked away from it 5 years ago, had hardly touched it for 5 years because I was like, there's no purpose for it. But with these changes, Facebook, the gun post, when they're not recommending it, this type of thing, I was like, maybe we should dust off that old forum website and have a space.
Maybe there'll be some coming back to it.
Maybe. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think so. If I had to gamble on it, I don't think so. But it made me think, maybe I don't want to just shut it off yet. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, maybe we're just not there yet. But I can see where that website is all but dead right now with Facebook the way. I mean, look, there's a Big Game Houndsman Facebook group. You know what I mean? Like, it just...
It's my Facebook group. They stole whatever I left. What I gave the password.
You don't have to go to a forum website anymore. I mean, you're just, while you're on Facebook, you're...
Let's go back to that.
Looking at all the forums.
Just so everybody knows, that was the Facebook group I started. I no longer have control of that Facebook group. Like, the person that has control of that Facebook group doesn't have a Facebook account. Like, that was the thief. I don't know what her name was, but she wasn't from our country. But when I lost all my shit, right? When I gave my password, I lost W. I lost that Big Game Houndsman Facebook group. I was able to make some contacts into Facebook, and they were able to get me back W, right? So W got put back into my hands. So I had,
because you own that. You own that entity.
But I was not able to prove that I owned the Big Game Houndsman group. And so I never got control of Big Game Houndsman group. And so the person that has control of that Big Game Houndsman group is a hacker. Okay. And it looks like their account has been deleted. So they got caught somewhere. So I think that's a headless group now. I don't think there's anybody. I think I got admins in there or moderators in there, that are moderate, that I set up as moderators. But that's like Iran right now. You know what I mean? Like they nuked the head guys. There's some guys with guns that can go delete stuff, but like there's nobody that can control that, can take it away. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. That ship has sailed. Like whatever's going to happen on that, like whether it gets deleted, whether it gets smoked, whether it gets whatever, there's nobody that can fix that group. And it just keeps sailing away. I keep seeing it pop up on my feed. People selling
Trump could fix it.
I don't know. But anyways, anybody's looking. Go look at that Big Game Houndsman group and go look at the admin, and you're going to see somebody you're like, who the hell is that? And it's like, it used to be Buddy. Well, it used to be Buddy in Woodbury, but Buddy got kicked out of that group, and whenever they took my password, they deleted me as an admin from that group, and I don't think they changed any moderators. And then eventually, somehow, that account is no longer an account. So the account that had that is deleted, but they didn't delete that group. So I don't know what happens with that group now. Like it is what it is.
It's an unmanned ship.
I know. I wish I could go change the logo at least. I'm like, yeah, we go change that logo. Change the name. I don't care. But people still associate me that group, and I'm like, oh, sorry, I got nothing on that Facebook.
Nothing to do with it.
I can't help you. I can't help you. So, anyways, that's funny that you mentioned that. and I just don't know. Like I said, the actual website, Big Game Houndsman website, I'm like, well, maybe there's value if this shit keeps happening the way it does.
Because I probably wouldn't let it go. I probably wouldn't let it go yet. Just, I mean, a lot might change in the next 5-10 years. Who knows? We might be looking for a place to express ourselves or share stuff, because who knows? Hopefully not.
Even but dogs, you can't sell dogs on Facebook. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
Like we're so reliant on these other companies.
Just a lot of collars for sale out there.
What's that?
Oh, that's what everyone says now. Pink collar for sale.
Pink collar.
Have you seen that when people are when they're selling dogs?
I got you.
Up for discussion. Pink collar.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm following you now. Pink collar, blue collar. I got you. A hole puncher, wireless hole punchers for sale. Like, if you don't think AI is going to figure that shit out eventually,
I'm surprised it hasn't already.
I know. They're going to be like, whatever, which I get. You know what I mean? I think everybody wants to, and so that's kind of one of the reasons I was like, well, I better just redo Big Game Houndsman, because of the dog selling a dog. You know what I mean? Like, It would be nice that you could just list, which you can. I'll give you a little plug. You could go on Big Game Houndsman, list the dog for sale, give all the specs of it, whatever you want. It's not going to get deleted. You don't have to say pink collar for sale. You can say, hey, I got a dog for sale, and you can put a price on it, and you can tell what it does. You can put some pictures, and then you go on Facebook and you're like, hey, pink collar for sale, and go check out Big Game Houndsman.
Yeah. Click on this link. Yeah.
If you want to see my pink collar, here's the link. But I was just like, man, I just don't know, with everything that's happening, that we don't want a place that we own. You know what I mean? Like, by I say we, I mean a houndsman. You know what I mean? Like,
a place we can go if that's all that's left.
Yeah. It may, and I don't think, the way society is, nobody wants to get off Facebook. You know what I mean? Because you don't get the views and the looks and the links on Big Game Houndsman that you do on Facebook. You know what I mean? Like, I thought about, what was that other company that they made? What was it? App? Go Hunt? Was it Go Wild? Go?
Oh yeah. No, not. It could have been Go Wild. Was it Go Wild?
Maybe it was Go. I don't remember. Same type of
I know
thing,
exactly what you're talking about, but
it was an app, and we looked at trying to make an app, maybe Big Game Houndsman making it into an app, a social media app or something like that.
But, yeah, it's Go Wild. I got it right here on my phone.
Oh, you still got it? Is it still on? Or is it?
I don't know. This is the first time I clicked on it in years.
Right?
We'll see what happens.
And I remember because we were researching about trying to do that, make a dog app, for dog hunting, big game houndsman basically. And it was really expensive. And I just had the feeling that nobody was ready to leave Facebook yet. You know what I mean? Like somebody posts a picture, and one of the reasons is let's say you catch this kick-ass cougar in a tree, right? And that thing's just a decent tom and looks good. And you post that picture on Go Wild, which is full of a bunch of hunters, you're going to get a couple of clicks, right? You're going to be like, oh, right on, get 12, 15 likes or whatever it is, right? And that is what, because they're all the hunters, right? Your friends, your buddies, your hunting buddies, they're all going to show that. So you get 15, 20 clicks or likes on it. Well, then you post that same picture on Facebook and you're going to get hundreds of them because your grandma's on there, your aunt's on there, your sister's cousins on, you know what I mean? Like all these non-hunting contexts, and they don't see those types of pictures all the time. So they're like, oh, wow, look what Ross, did you see that one Ross caught? You know what I mean? That's a big deal to them. And so people get rewarded on Facebook because you know what I mean? The people who are really making the numbers was like, oh, I got 200 likes on that post. Well, most of those aren't hunters. You know what I mean? Like most of them are just family members that are like, we're doom scrolling Facebook and seeing a cool picture of a cougar that was different. So you're showing different content to them. And so anyways, that was the reason that I was like, yeah, this other app is not going to work. And it's the same reason I don't think Big Game Hounds is going to work is because in our day and age, we're not getting the reward of hundreds or thousands of likes or clicks or shares or whatever that we get on Facebook or Instagram.
Go Wild is dead, I think.
Is it dead?
Yeah, I mean it pops up with like my name and stuff, but you click on the shop or anything and it's nothing.
Nothing, no post, no nothing. You can't get to anything.
Nope.
Yeah.
It says I got a few followers and I click on that and it won't even bring them up. I mean, she's pretty much dead.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was honestly, that was one of the ones that I was like, yeah, let's just watch this and see what happens. And, because I was at the same time, Go Wild was firing up. I literally have a bid from a developer to build an app that, like a Facebook style app. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, this is a social media app that would be Big Game Houndsman or hound related. You know what I mean? So just regular houndsman, and basically it's going to be like, I don't know if it was like 40,000 or like 140. I don't remember, but it was expensive, right? So it was enough that it was like, I think it was like 40,000 for each. If I remember right, it was each development aspect, because you had to develop the app for an Android, for the Google Play Store. Then you had to develop an app for iOS. So 40,000 for the Android version, 40,000 for the iOS version, and then 40,000 for the website version, right? So if you wanted that, if I wanted to make an app, you got to make it for the Android guys.
Compatible for all of them, yeah.
Exactly. And then you also got the guys on the computer, right? So Facebook works either on your phone or on the computer. So when you look at that, there's basically 3 systems that are working to make that happen. And so I think that's what it was. It was 40,000 each system, basically, was roughly the cost. And so it came to like 120,000. I was like, oh, that's a lot of money, right? And
especially
I had somebody to go in with
disappear.
What's that?
So especially if it flops, that's a lot of money.
Exactly. I was like, man, it better work. And so it was me and another guy, and we were just floating the idea of like, hey, you take the money away from it. You know what I mean? Like, let's just like we bid it out, but if we took the money away, number one, can we make that money back? Because 140,000 is a lot of money, like a lot of money. But if you could make money on it, then I was like, you know what? Maybe we figure that out, right? So, anyways, I said, well, let's take the money away from it. And so Go Wild, I was really watching Go Wild. I was trying to see how it was working, what the response rate was. The guys that were pushing that, Helmsman XP was pushing that, so I was watching, their point system. You got points for doing certain, I mean, like I was really
I got
paying
436 points yet, it says.
Go use those.
Never cash them in.
You go get those. But I was watching and trying to figure out these incentive points to just see if it was possible. You know what I mean? I was like, and I came to terms that it was like, this is a bigger problem to get out of Facebook's grip than it seems. You know what I mean? It's like you can have that pie in the sky outlook and be like, we got to do it. And that's why I did Big Game Helmsman. But if you ask me if I think it's going to fail or pass, I'm like, dude, I don't think it has a chance. Like, I don't think we can get out of that Facebook. I've done the math, and it's like, dude, that's a lot of work. And that Go Wild, I didn't watch it completely collapse, but I watched it enough to go, these guys, the guys that were trying to Go Wild, were still going back to Facebook to post the same content. And they were getting rewarded on Facebook a lot more than they were getting rewarded on Go Wild because of the reach. And when you looked at the reach, a lot of it was not Helmsman. Like, most of the views came from people who were not hunters and not Helmsmen. And that kind of circles back to this content of when we're posting videos of, what a lot of us would say, not content that should be on Facebook, the majority of those get to non-hunting eyeballs that hurt us. So, anyways,
yep,
we're gonna bring Go Wild back. I'm gonna do it.
It's got to be. You could probably buy it from somebody for pretty cheap right now, the way it looks.
Under 40,000? Do you think that they'll take under 40,000?
Well, yeah, with inflation, it might maybe still be 140,000 now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't even know when that kind of died off. It just kind of slowly went away.
I mean, that hasn't even crossed my mind in a number of years since you mentioned it. So I mean, it was still on my phone, obviously, but like I said, I haven't clicked on it in 5. I don't know it was probably only around a couple of years altogether, I would guess.
Yeah. Yeah. They were doing, like, you got points and stuff, and they were trying to do a store. So they were trying to sell stuff.
Yeah.
Where you can, and that was the point where I realized that they were struggling when they started trying to sell stuff. I was like, we
got to make money some other way.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to curate that, and no bullshit, Ross, no bullshit. Like, W was going to sell some shit on our app too. So I'm not judging, because I was like, man, am I going to get a bunch of people on a Hound app and just drop get it smart enough where it knows the algorithm? Like, this guy's talking about a caller or whatnot. Like, it wouldn't be a bad, it's not a bad idea. I've seen other Hound companies, I think, try to do that. There was another one or two, or at least I got a spot for an advertisement for one that was doing a pin, something where, the coyote pin scheduling or something.
Sure.
So there's always people who are trying to figure out.
Yeah. Trying to dip into it a little bit and see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dip their toe in it at least and see where it might go.
Exactly. And it's like, man, it's challenging, to say the least. That.
Yeah, I would. That whole Facebook, Instagram grasp is, I mean, that's going to be hard to get away from, for sure.
Nope. Well, to wrap it back up, I think we kind of covered a bunch of different topics on social media. You can talk about making your own social media.
Yeah.
Is there anything that we didn't cover? So that I would probably, if you're interested in trying to help this HR 5017, which I do think is something we should do. I mean, we should be trying to stop that bill. It is not it is not cool that they piggyback that into the farm bill. And so I think calling our representatives, our senators, I seen New Mexico is kind of taking the lead on that. And so they have some good talking points there with some contacts. If we can get on there, follow New Mexico Houndsman Association, follow that bill and try to stop it, I think would be good. Like I said, even I don't want to be the naysayer. I think the outcome is going to be difficult at best, but I still think it's not right that they're putting that as a rider onto a farm bill, and that bill should not be passed as is. But
well, I mean, even if it's a long shot, it's if nobody says anything, it's definitely going to pass. So
exactly,
I mean,
somebody somewhere somehow may have that connection, and I think it's going to be a backdoor. By what I mean by backdoor is a personal conversation to a senator or a legislator that this is pretty important to, that they have some strings to pull. You know what I mean? And that's
preferably
how
heartstrings.
Exactly. So that they go up and say, "Hey, I know this is it, but I need this amendment pulled from this," and they're going to be like, "Well, but I know you need this, and so I'll do this if you do that." You know what I mean? That's how those things start kind of happening. Is it's got to be somebody that has some favors to give, and they're going to try and pull that out of the amendment. But I don't know who that is. You know what I mean? Like that's the purpose that people got to find right now. Is they got to find that legislator that has a few favors to give, that can go up and talk to those sponsors and go, "Hey, I know you guys want to put this in this bill, but we need to pull it out for XYZ." And there may be some other defense budget bill. You know what I mean? There may be some other type of thing that he needs their vote for. And so he's, that leverage is the only way I know that that's going to get pulled out. And beyond that, if we see social media posts, I don't know the answer to it, but we've got to figure out how to police our social media sometimes, at least with some people. I know, and I know what's happening. I mean, I look at these posts and I study them, and I see that these posts that are like most of you guys listening out there, I know you look at that and you cringe just with me. I mean, I know it. I 100% know it. That we're all, I would say 90% of us are in the same boat, where we all look at it and go, "Oh, that's no good for us." Because you look at the posts and they don't get shared. They get shared by the same guys. You know what I mean? Like there's a small group of people that share these posts. And unfortunately, they're pretty vocal about it. But if anybody knows of the way, man, I'm all ears. I wish I knew what to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I speak up. Sometimes I see. I'm not very good at keeping my mouth shut when I see something I don't like, and I try to be respectful about it. But like you said, a lot of times it's like pouring gas on fire too. It's like, well, that accomplished absolutely nothing besides getting me even more pissed off.
Yeah, and then it fires them up because they get rewarded because they're looking for, that
shock factor. And
yeah. So whenever somebody does call them out, it's like you're actually rewarding them because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for like, I don't know what the word is, but drama. Yeah, I mean, so they get that
engagement.
Drama,
I don't know.
Yeah, engagement.
Something.
They get, and so when they see engagement, then their numbers go up, and they're like, "Oh my God, look at the numbers! I got this many views on that post." And it's like, so it is really difficult. It is a challenging question. It's like, I wish everybody would just like go away. And I wish that there was a board of houndsmen across the states, the ones that actually fight for hunting rights. You know what I mean? Like Colorado, Utah,
a national
Wisconsin.
Voice. Just a
board that can be like, this will never happen. But if those ones could be like Facebook, to demote these guys. You know what I mean? Like I went to a board and be like, "Yep, demote these ones." I mean, but it'll never happen. It's always going to be AI. It's going to be Facebook. We don't have a choice of who's going to do it. And I don't know, but I do foresee that happening soon. You know what I mean? Like I would guess the way things are going, at least my experience with the gun post, that very soon we're going to see different
different censorship. Yep.
Some kind of censorship on our stuff. And
yep.
I guess it's coming. I don't know when, but later this year. I don't know. AI is happening fast. So, all right, Ross, you want to wrap it up? Anything else we missed? I think we beat that.
I'm going to touch on one more thing real quick.
Perfect.
A video that you shared on Facebook that Steve Snell posted about finding a lost receiver. I think that's good info for everybody to look at. A lost Garmin receiver. I'm a little disappointed that it was a bird dog guy that came up with that.
Me too.
That's a little disappointing, but
I seen that post and I'm like, son of a bitch. How is he
Why
driving
did I think of that? Yeah.
Exactly. I was like, God dang it. And then I got over my ego and I was like, all right, that's good enough. I mean, whatever Steve Snell posts on, I'm like, that's good enough. I gotta do it. I gotta share that one.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was I saw that and I'm like, oh, and I just had a buddy just a week or two ago text me that he lost his 200 and he's like, thankfully I went back and after looking for 45 minutes, I found it, and then he was asking me how to pair it to another one and stuff, but that's obviously if you got it paired, it's easy to find it, but
yeah. The big thing about that is making sure that your transmitting is on the handheld. And
it's not perfect because, like for instance, what we're talking about is going into channel view and finding if you lose your 200 or 300 and the transmitting is turned on, you can go into channel view on a different device and find what's going to make it tough. Like by us in the summer, I mean, there's 100 collars within range. If you lose your device at 8:00 in the morning, you're not going to be able to go into channel view and figure anything out because every channel is going to be full. But you might be able to go out there at midnight or something when hopefully everybody's at home sleeping with all their collars turned off and find it. So it's not perfect, but at least it's a possibly a way for you to find a $800 alpha,
Yeah. So the thing is making sure that your transmitting is on by tapping the power, and you'll see if it says my ID and it says off, then your device is not transmitting a signal. So you want to tap that. I always tell people change it to 30 seconds. Don't have the handheld transmitting every 5 seconds. It just wastes battery, and a human doesn't move fast enough that 5 seconds makes a difference. So,
you've never seen me move, obviously.
so putting it in 30 seconds or whatever, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, and then here's the thing: is it'll have an ID number, right? So it'll say like 4-11 or 1-2 or whatever, right? The easy thing to do is to just write this number down right now. Okay. So like if you want to just skip to the chase, this is the number you're looking for. If you just write that down and put it in your glove box, you can skip the rest of the story and just add it. So you have the ID numbers you want. But if you don't write this number down and you're like all of us, and then you drop your handheld a year later, what Steve Snell showed a video is grabbing another device. So I'd be like, hey, Ross, can you grab your handheld, your 300, and come over here? I know I lost in this area. As long as the battery's still good, you can go to channel view on that 300 and it'll scan all of the available channels. And as long as that handheld is the only one on, you want to make sure to turn all your dogs off, right? But it'll show you, hey, there's something transmitting on 418, channel 418. And if there's only one thing transmitting, that should be your handheld. Then you could go in and add the hunter and say, add pair handheld, add 418 to your handheld, and you should be able to get the location of that handheld. That's the cool part of that video.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I thought
like
that was brilliant.
If you just wrote 418 down in your glove box, you could also you could skip the channel view and just be like, oh, grab a handle, put 418 in it. That's the really smart way to do it.
But in 6 months, I'd go, grab the roll of duct tape out of my glove box, and that piece of paper would come out with it, and then I wouldn't be able to find it when I needed it anyways.
And you changed it because you're
exactly
conflicting with such and such dogs. So you got to change my ID real quick.
Yeah.
No, that does. There was some questions on there. You cannot do that with a collar. You know what I mean? So because the collars use a track and train code, so it not only has that ID, but it has a special code in there that has to be used. So somebody was like, hey, can game wardens do this, whatever? Like game wardens can see that there's collars transmitting out there, but they can't just plug in a number and start tracking a collar. You know what I mean? Like they need your actual ID number. And that goes for anybody. Like I could just scan and see, well, let me see what these collars are and go track Ross's dogs or anything. Like that part won't work. If it's a handheld, it will, but the collars won't. So that was good. When Steve said that, I was like, gee, I should have thought of that. He's kind of coming out. He's
got a bunch of them. He's on a eater lately. Yeah.
I think it's his brother that is telling him he needs to do content because so there's Steve Snell and then there's Rob Snell, which is his brother, and his brother's like really smart, like did like SEO search engine stuff, and
sure
he just did a bunch. He's just a technical guy, I always enjoy it when I get to visit with him. But anyways, he's like, buddy, you should be doing this and that and this, and just like this podcast stuff and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but that's a lot of work. I don't want to do that, right? And so I think he's finally got his brother to be like, hey, Steve, you need to start doing this. And so Steve started doing it. I'm like, damn it, I should have done that because a lot of those little videos are helpful. Yeah, they're really helpful. It's just a lot of work to try to do that. I don't like doing it. I mean, I need to do more of it, help it when I can. But
and that's probably something too. That's each one of them's not moving the needle big time, but
yeah,
you're getting a little bit of needle bump on them, and consistency in a bunch of them. And now maybe you did move the needle a ways.
Yeah.
Not instant home runs though.
No, and it was like the eSeek, you know what I mean? Like shooting a video. Like I went out this weekend or whatever and took the dogs out exercising, and again that eSeek failed on me. It turned on. I'm trying to remember what happened, but it turned on, and then I started rode the dogs, and I got to the top, and I look at my eSeek, it's completely dead, like black. You know what I mean? Like nothing. So I'm trying to turn it on. It won't turn on. Like I can't get it to turn on. Press and hold the power. I can't get nothing to turn on. So I'm like, oh shit, maybe I'll get my phone out and start recording this. And get a video how it won't turn on, right? Well, then the bastard turns on. You know what I mean? Like I should fight with this thing for like 5 minutes trying to get it turned on.
Should have threatened to get my phone out earlier.
Yeah, exactly. And so it fires up, and the other thing it wasn't doing was it wasn't showing me the location of the dog, right? It was showing me the whole world view. Mm-hmm. So like it was showing me in Africa. Yeah. All for the first, I don't say all morning, but 5-10 minutes in the morning, it was just Africa. I go to map Africa. I couldn't hardly zoom in. I could see a little icon of a dog over where I was, in the US, over in Washington, Oregon. But I couldn't really zoom in and scroll over there. So I was like, so that was the other thing. I was like, shooting a video. I was like, I'm going to show this thing. Now it's not doing it. And then also the sub-bitch turns on. Like after 5 minutes of literally pressing, hold the button, doing whatever I could to get it turned on, couldn't do nothing. Turns on. And so I'm like, well, I'll just show that Africa problem. You know what I mean? Like zooms right over to me, like no problem. Maps. I'm like, you son of a bitch. Like, so I didn't even post it, right? Because I'm like, like
there's nothing to show.
Exactly. I'm like, man, and I'm already feel like I'm beating up the kid, you know what I mean? The retard kid in the corner. I'm like, I'm already like, this thing is not working. It's not working that great. So I'm like,
yeah.
And anyway, so with that, I was like, so I just finally was like, yeah, I get in this mode where I'm like, I just don't want to post on social media sometimes because it's like, sometimes it's like feeling like you're doing the same thing over again.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
um, and I need to do more. So like, I probably should do the Pathfinder is what, I'm kind of working on the next. I'm trying to do the Pathfinder and look at that product a little bit different. Um, it's definitely not my favorite, but
Yeah.
it's better. It's better than the China version.
True.
Did I send you the, we need to wrap up here, but I am totally getting targeted with the Facebook algorithm. Every single eSeek post ever made
Pops up on your deal now?
pops up on my deal. Every one of them.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. Like, I see.
Can't run from it now. Yeah.
I can't. And these guys, I think I've made them a little bit insecure. Either they've always been like this, or they're like, "Oh, that American guy, we got to show how robust it is." And it's like, so now they're like doubling down, where they're like showing a collar hidden in the bushes in the woods, and they're like, "Find your lost dog deep in the forest," and and so they make a little video, and then they circle the bush, and there's a collar laying on the ground, and it's like very easy, you know what I mean? Like, and they never have a dog. Like, I take it back because I finally seen one with a dog in it. Like,
Yep. You said the
yesterday.
chewing on a leaf.
Yeah, yeah. So like every post I've seen never had a dog. Like, there was no dog ever in any post for the eSeek. The best I could find was where they had a statue of two dogs.
The mannequins, yeah.
The mannequins, and they put them on the mannequins. In a couple of videos, they tried to make it look like it was a dog, you know what I mean? But not show it was a couple of them they did. They'd hide the mannequins in the bush, you know what I mean? Like stick it up in the bush, like it was like a dog sitting in the bushes, like, and it was a lab, it was like a white lab. And so I'm like, I just feel bad for him. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, I'm really getting a kick out of some of these videos and I really want to share them. But then I'm just being an asshole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, totally like, man, I feel like you're just picking on the slow kid. You know what I mean? Like, I like they really want to try, but no. But yeah,
just at a different level.
The what I sent you, how was it yesterday or whatever? I'm like, they finally got a dog. Like, they had a dog. And this dog was a yellow lab, I think.
It's something-ish, yeah.
Well, it was like a puppy-ish, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'd say maybe 5 months old, somewhere in that.
Yeah, 5 to 8, probably.
Yeah, just, and the dog was just chewing on a leaf. You know what I mean? So like they had this dog chewing a leaf, and so they give it a leaf and they're chewing it, and there's two people trying to put the collar on the dog. One's like holding the dog on the back, like, you know what I mean? You see their hand like trying to make sure the dog doesn't, I don't know what it's trying to do, but it's like you just put their hand right by the shoulder blades, like, hey, it's okay, we're gonna put a collar on you. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, oh, even the videos with them having a real dog in it, you can still see that they've never been around a dog. Like, this is a big deal for them. They're like, hey, can we buy a dog? We want to buy a dog, put a collar on it, take a video.
You think they high-fived and stuff after they got that collar on the dog?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I was more intrigued by like the shoes. You know what I mean? They had like I just look at the details of like, this is a different culture, right? So
yeah.
So like, and I've worked around these. I worked at Intel for 14 years, right? So I like worked inside Intel, which has a huge migrant population of like every type of culture there is. You know what I mean? Like I've worked with me and my buddy Carlos. We were like the two Americans in this whole building, pretty much. And our team, you know what I mean? It was like you had a lot of Raves and Atuls and Hongs and all sorts of different names, whatever. Mm-hmm. And so my buddy Carlos is from Texas, and I'm over here from whatever. Like, we got along pretty good because we were like, hey, we're only white boys in here. There was like maybe two other ones that were like higher engineers that were white too, but me and him were green. And this one time, it was Hong. He was like, "You must have turned put chip in, CPU clamp, and you put in clamp," and he, they talk like that. And Carlos is like, "And we were testing these computer chips, and it was open." So he goes, "Oh, still open. You turn harder." So Carlos, "Still open. You must have turned harder." So Carlos snaps this thing. It's like a $10,000 jig, right? Holding this computer. So he goes, "You turn too far, you break it." Like, you fucking told me to go harder. Let me harder. You turn too hard, you break it. So, anyways, I say that because I have spent 14 years with different cultures, and most of them joking with, you know what I mean? Like, I really do enjoy them. I make fun, but like, I was laughing with them. You know what I mean? We would tell jokes and Tool. Oh my gosh, these guys, they wanted to be badass. You know what I mean? Like these Indians, like they wanted to be badasses. You know what I mean? They see this American whatever, and they'd be like, try to puff up and be like, "Oh, I could be," and they say, "Let's go paintballing." And you go paint, my those fuckers would be just curling on the corner, just like, you know what I mean? Letting them out, they're like couldn't hang. I mean, they just couldn't hang. You know what I mean? And there's some tough Indians. I'm not saying that all Indians are like that, but these guys weren't the ones that were impressing me with their...
The computer programming Indians weren't?
No, they didn't. They didn't. Never played cricket. You know what I mean? They're like, "Let's go play cricket." No, I was doing paintball, whatever. And so I'd take them shooting guns. I always had fun. You know what I mean? Like, we were whatever. And so anyways, I say that. And when I'm watching these videos of these guys, it just brings back these memories that I'm like, oh my gosh, that's right. You guys, you don't get us. You know what I mean? They want to get us. You know what I mean? They want to be that John Wayne. You know what I mean? But they just don't have the John Wayne swagger. And this was before I was a houndsman. Like, I was not even a houndsman. Like, they kicked me out of the building now. You know what I mean? Now they're like, "Oh shit. Redneck has levels." Yeah. I was just like grade A redneck, you know what I mean? Like, shooting guns and paintball, hounds, and what I've done since then, I'm like, it's a whole different level. They'd be like, "Holy cow." Oh, so anyways, I say that, but I just said, I make fun of them, but it's only because I've lived it, and 14 years I spent dealing with some of them cultures and stuff, and they were fun. It was good. I think you had good laughs and stories out of it. Oh, anyways. Well, all right. We didn't make it 3 hours. We got 2 hours. We'll call it good.
Yeah, let's call it good.
All right, Ross. I'm gonna, if I can, I don't know, but I'm gonna try to bring podcasts and stuff with me to Utah, and see if I can get, like I said, I might try and go in early, and so if I get in early enough that I can record a podcast. If not, I'm gonna be in and out, so I don't know if it'll happen or not, but I might get next podcast done with a guest and just do it local, and then
Perfect.
We'll probably be close to Wisconsin, so maybe we should set aside some time to shoot.
Yeah, try to get one knocked out.
Yeah, get somebody and then get some stories. So anyways, all right,
sounds good.